I was so into the introduction, I forgot to put us on screen. So I
I was
apologize,
wondering.
everybody. Welcome to Eddie again, my co partner in crime. Holy crime, Batman.
Damn it, Jim, you're always pushing me to the limit.
Edelwolf, hello. Raymond said hi to you earlier, but hello. Emil, so your trip to Moscow sounds like it was productive. And sounds like you had a good time. I'll have to say 15,000 rubles, about 150 bucks a day for a private taxi driver to take you all over and wait on you at museums, give you tours and stuff. Sounds like a deal. Um, just so everybody knows, that's what my wife charges if you come to Crimea and you need appointments in Simferopol for immigration. She will charge you 15,000 rubles a day because she has to drive you 2.5 hours to Simferopol, 2.5 hours back, interpret, translate, introduce you to everybody, and she has to cancel all her students. So she loses money on deals like this. But just want you all to know that that service is available since we do have a viewer who is moving to Kerch in a week or so. I don't remember exactly when he said, but he will be arriving in Kerch shortly. And Chris, if Chris actually shows up at a stream one of these days on time, is finding him a place to live to be registered so he can apply. So yeah, Edelwolf, I pay 5,000 rubles if I need a taxi to Simferopol to the train station. And like I say, that's a 5 hour drive for the taxi driver, plus waiting on me. So, um, yeah, and right now we're pretty much at par with the dollar, right around 90. Last couple of days, it's been fluctuating. Last night, I got 93 to the dollar. Today, I got 98. And then it went back down again. So um, I am going to mention a little bit on money, Eddie, um, because this is one of those don't do it when you're coming to Russia. Just stop it. Do not ask me if we're transferring money for you. Do not ask me to quote you before you actually send the money. I cannot guarantee an exchange rate until your money arrives in Russia. So if you wire it to me in the United States or from Great Britain, Australia, wherever you're coming from, and you wire it on Wednesday, it shows up in my account on Friday, it shows up in Russia on Monday. I cannot quote you until the moment it arrives in Russia. So no sense in asking. If you ask me, I'll tell you, go out and look and see what Spurbank's given. That's about what you'll get, or a little bit more. Um, so I told Jay I would talk for a little bit. So I'm going to address this right away. Yes, you got 97 last time it changed, first time 94. If you went today, you'd get 93.7. So this is the problem, and it depends on where you go and what city you're in. If you're in St. Petersburg and you go to Avant-Garde Bank, you will always get the highest exchange rate available in Russia. I cannot give that to you. But I also know that you aren't going to go to Avant-Garde and exchange $100,000 equivalent of money and get that exchange rate, because they will lock your account up tighter than a drum because of new uh, financial laws that they passed. Foreigners coming to Russia. This is why you need a good, reliable money transfer service. Foreigners coming to Russia now have a limitation to deposit no more than 1 million rubles in their bank account without having the account blocked for 7 to 10 days, sometimes longer. They have a whole month to research these things if they want it. And you have to provide the original source of income. So if you go to them and you say, well, I held crypto and I sold it, they'll say, where did the crypto come from? Where did the money you bought the crypto come from? And they will want papers. You got it from your social security check and you saved it for 30 years. Show me all the bank statements with everything that's being deposited into the account. It was from a home sale. Bring them the document. You have to have a legal reason. And another thing, I will require contracts of anybody who's transferring over about 2,000 US dollars at this point, because people asked me why I did away with free consultations on money, because I had too many people not wanting to tell me who they are. And we have KYC laws in Russia. I cannot help you without knowing who you are personally and having a copy of your passport and your visa. Technically, if you're in the country, I have to have a copy of your migration card as well. The bank requires these things as well. I don't require translation, but so these are things you need to know. Yeah, Jay threw something up on the screen there. It was a woman from Italy that I helped a couple of days ago. I'll let her toss that back up again. But, Christopher, if you bought Bitcoin for cash in 2009, you better be able to prove where that cash came from. So, for those of you who are wondering, I can get cash transfers for you for some people. And people go, oh my God, what does cash look like? This neat little bundle is a bundle I got today for 500,000 rubles. So that's what a bundle of 500,000 rubles looks like. Sealed at Sberbank. Pretty cool, huh? Notice the super packet from Super Sberbank. And this is what your money will come in if you get a cash transfer. $1,000, Christopher. Yes. No, $10,000. 100. What's your question, Christopher, on $1,000? So you cannot deposit more than 10,000 US dollar equivalent without proof of it. So that's 500,000 rubles fresh out of the bag. It's actually a hair more. So 250 and change. So those of you who are wondering, you can get cash delivered under certain circumstances. So that said, on to our comments. Yep, 10,000 US or equivalent, which is equivalent to 10,000 euro or equivalent. Yeah, right now it's add 2 zeros at a wolf. You're correct. Dingbat, I don't know. You'll have to expound on your question a little bit. Don't know what you mean by how do they address structuring. So, so the limit you have for depositing in the bank or getting a cash delivery and having me deposited in the bank without proof is essentially what you can bring into the country without declaring it. So if you bring more than that in your backpack, you have to have documentation. So anything over 10,000 equivalent, you have to have documentation for it, whether you're carrying it over the border, you're transferring it, or you're depositing, you're getting cash here and depositing it in your account. So that's all I wanted to say. We have ways around all of it. I do get better exchange rates on cash transfers, but we have requirements. And Yeah, Wolf, go ahead. You can just bring it, but bring your documentation with you, because if your documentation isn't what Border Patrol or Customs decides that they want, they will seize your money. You're better off having Spurbank block your account until you can provide documentation, because at least they will give you 10 days to provide documentation before they turn your money over to the government. If you get it seized at the border, you're just crap out of luck. So, Dingbat, I'll get to your question in a little bit. And some comments. So, Eddie.
Yes, sir.
What should people not do when they come to Russia? What do we want to tell them? To just stop it. Stop it. Just stop it.
Stop it. First thing to do, don't come to Russia without a plan. And I mean,
what kind of plan? I know people who came with a plan, and they're complaining that they couldn't get registered, and they're going to lose their refugee status, and they had a plan, didn't they?
They did, but it wasn't a well thought out plan. So what we mean by making a plan, you got to think about it. And I mean, not just like over a cup of coffee and just writing things down in a notebook. I mean, actually doing actual research, because it's difficult. Imagine for yourself, if you were to move to the United States or to Canada or the West or wherever you find yourself, what would it take? What would you have to know in order to be successful at moving to your country? Now, take that same information and those same questions that you just asked yourself and apply them to Russia, and then add maybe about 2 times more detail and research, because things are just different here.
Our producer's getting ahead of us here.
True. I will agree.
Yeah. So a plan, Eddie. Does that include what you were going to do for money initially? I mean, when you come here, even if you come on the shared value visa and you do not have to take the language test and you don't have to take the history and law test, can you work for the 3 or 4 months you have to wait?
No. You cannot work.
Do?
Well, you'll either have to have a plan. You'll either have to have brought, you will either have brought sufficient amount of money to live for that 3 to 4 or 5 months before your temporary residency is granted, or you'll have to have access to money that you can bring into Russia. One of the two, because you can't work here. So that answer is fairly straightforward.
Yep. And what about after you have your temporary residency and you can work?
So what skills, what value do you bring to Russia? Is it something that requires an education? Is it something that requires skill? Is it something that requires maybe just manual labor and like skill? What is it that you bring? Because most jobs, traditional jobs where you work 9 to 5, you answer to a boss, things like this will require you to know the language, and not just know the language. And I mean, not just survival Russian like me. I'm talking almost native level Russian. And unless you're prepared with that, you can't bring anything to the job market. So most likely you're going to say, okay, what skill do I have? What have I brought to Russia? Well, I brought language skill, right? You can speak. So yes, you can find a job teaching others English. Would I rely on that? Me personally? No. Maybe if I were younger, but I'm older, so I have a different mindset than, say, a 20-year-old who wants to come over here, or somebody who's more adventurous. I'm much more conservative. So I just don't want to rely on teaching English, because to teach, you need students. So, you know, we can crack
So
this down into details, but that's basically what it is. What can you bring to Russia?
So let's hit on that point for a minute, Eddie. So to teach, you need students. And if the students don't teach English, what do you need to be able to get those students?
I'm sorry, rephrase your question. If the if the students
If
don't
if
already know English, yes, so how are you going to advertise? So you're going to have to advertise in Russian, quite obviously.
yes. So and a few more points on those who plan to come here and teach to earn a living. There are a lot of great English teachers already here who are certified. My wife, if you try to compete with my wife for getting students, you will lose, because she is a university professor with a language degree who lived in the United States for many years. So you get somebody like that, you will lose 100% of the time. If you're going up against a Daniel Bosworth, who is certified as an English as a second language teacher and speaks Russian, you will lose every time. So, much like some other people we know that have come recently with a not so good plan, um, they should have a backup plan too, right?
Plan B, C, D, E, and F, if
Yeah.
you ask me. Yeah.
So our editor is she put this one up a minute ago, and I'm going to put it up again. Or you can work illegally and freelance. So Nova, blah, 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 I hate to tell you this, but if you're doing that here, or you plan to do that here, you will be immediately deported, because I happen to know who watches my streams 100% every time I am on the air. And they are the guys who can make your deportation happen in minutes. So if you come here and you're working illegally, I've had clients come to me and say, gee, I am starting to teach my first English class next week. And I said, well, wait a minute, you don't have residency. Oh, yeah, but I joined an English language club and I've got students coming to me and they're going to pay me in cash. If you tell me that, you will be arrested, because I will report it, because as a foreigner holding Russian citizenship, I am not going to risk my citizenship, because as a foreigner, if you break the law, Russia can and will terminate your citizenship and toss you out of the country. So if I find out you're working illegally, I will report you, and I have the guys who know how to make it happen. Well, I'm glad you're Russian, but by encouraging other people to do that, you're also breaking the law. What's that called, Eddie? Eddie? Being our former law
Conspiracy
enforcement
to
guy?
commit. I
Yeah, or
think it's like
complicity?
conspiracy. Yeah, complicity,
Yeah.
but yeah, or conspiracy to commit as well.
So I'll give you a fair warning. Don't come on my channel and suggest to people that they break the law. You come to my Telegram channel and suggest that, or any of the expats, you will get immediately banned from all of them.
Well, this right here, if you're really sneaky and Kevin doesn't know, you can do it. That's
So Jay,
really not
eliminate him
appropriate.
from our stream permanently, please.
So
Paka.
long. Paka.
Now I see how
Yep.
quickly Jay can work the ban button. Apparently not as quick as me. Do svidanya. Okay.
Gone.
Gone.
So speaking of work, you guys see that worryfreerussia.com? That is my website for information about wanting to visit Russia. There is some information about moving, but I'm more interested and more focused, I should say, in having you visit Russia. So go to that website. Also, if you're coming to Moscow and you would like personal concierge service, you can find out more about that there. But I also want to let everybody know that this company is formed in the United States of America. So even though I'm here, I'm working remotely in a job, or as you could say, a business based in the States. So if there's something that you can do in the States and work remotely here, that's another thing you could do. So you got to think outside the box and not just a peanut roaster. And I said
Yep. So you were going to tell me something about your experience with coming here with a plan for earning money and it didn't work.
Well, it's not that it didn't work. It just morphed into something else. So my situation was when I first moved to Russia, my intention was to have Russian temporary residency as soon as I could. I moved in May of 2023. My now wife and I went to Zags, tried to get married as soon as we could because the idea was as after marriage, I was going to apply for TRP. Get my TRP, boom, I could start to work. Well, because I didn't have the proper paperwork and would have to return back to the States to get it, that delayed our getting married for about 9 months, 10 months. So that's 10 months that I wasn't able to do anything as far as like earning money here in Russia. So you had to have another plan. Well, luckily, I already had another plan, and that was I'm retired. I do receive a pension in the States, so I can live off of that. So whatever I wanted to earn here in Russia was going to be kind of like extra. But eventually, I would like to make my whole living uh, based on income that I make here in Russia. So that's kind of a plan that got sideways, that went sideways because I didn't have the proper paperwork. And this is a story that you hear over and over and over again here in Russia because documents are everything. So the paperwork that I needed, Ed Wolf wants to know, we couldn't get married because I needed a document that said that I was not currently married at the time. At the moment we presented our documents to Zags, there had to be a formal document that was apostilled in Texas, in my state of residence, that said I was not currently married. We could not use a uh, because the document had to be notarized. Couldn't use e-notary. Had to be notarized in person. I had to apostille with the state Texas State Department in Texas before it could be accepted here. That's what happened.
Important point for people to know when they start thinking about notarizing things with e-notaries, you have to have the wet seal. So I personally am a notary in the United States, and I can e-notarize things for people in the US. I cannot for people coming here because the electronic stamp is not legal.
Thus, I had to physically return to the States to pick up this document.
Okay. Yeah, and we'll get to questions in a bit, people. So, I was going to go somewhere off of your comment there, and I forgot what. So, we talked a little bit about language, but and I'm going to apologize to a couple of our viewers who may or may not be out there right at the moment, but will listen later if they're not. You do need to know something about the language when you come here. If you're going to move here, do not think that you have 3 years to learn the language and you don't need to have a single word of it when you get here. You know, a lot of people are coming to me and saying that, well, you know, I can learn it once I get there and I get residency. Yes, legally you can get your temporary residence and not understand one word of Russian. However, you better have some good friends in Russia who can help you if you get into some kind of trouble, legal trouble, you need to call the police or anything, because if you can't communicate with them or know how to operate the Yandex Translate app on your phone, you're in trouble. And, you know, so again, I keep going back to these people who came here with a bad plan and, you know, their whole deal. God helps those who help themselves. And if God isn't helping you, Russians certainly aren't going to. You know, don't expect the Russian Federation to help you if you don't have a plan. So just had to go on that.
Absolutely.
That
And not to self-promote, but I'm going to self-promote because I'm on YouTube. But it maybe somebody, maybe Jay can put up my YouTube handle back up here. And I would recommend, that's my Telegram, but there you go. Go there and go search for the 10 words you must know before you visit Russia. Now, if you're going to move to Russia, you may want to increase that vocabulary to maybe 200 words, maybe, or more. But at least learn the first 10 words. And I've got a video on that. Learn those first 10, and hopefully it will increase your appetite to want to learn more.
And hire a tutor who will give you remote lessons. Eddie knows people. My wife does remote. So
I was taking lessons in the States before I came here.
So well worthwhile to learn a little bit. Do not rely on things like Duolingo. They aren't going to help you communicate. Ed Wolf has in the comments here is to network. He mentions Joseph and Svetlana, Alex, you know, all great people. You have Eddie and I that you're free to contact, and we're glad to help you. We have many, many clients that have gone from being paid clients to good friends. And I had one who needed some help about a week ago, and they reached out to me and to Moore and actually another Alex or Nicholas at Oka, and they got the help they needed. So, you know, it's good to have friends here. Don't burn bridges. The American community is not very large in Russia. A lot smaller than you think it is. So you don't want to burn bridges, because if you burn a bridge with one of us, you're likely burning it with all of us.
Because the thing is, we're a small, close-knit community. We know each other, or most of us know each other. And we trust one another because there aren't many of us here, and we don't want to burn bridges. So if you burn one of my buddies' bridges, chances are you've burned it with me, even though I may not immediately ban you or whatever. But yeah, that's true.
I don't know why Edelwolf is on my channel promoting Joseph so much. So, yeah, I'm going to mute him pretty soon. Now he's promoting, instead of Joseph and Svetlana, he's promoting Joseph and you. I don't know. He must have.
Well, it's because I'm in Moscow. No. He
yeah.
said a visit to Moscow, and you're not in Moscow.
Yeah, so, that's true. That's true.
I would say if you're going to Crimea, you know, definitely, you know, hook up with my boy there, you know, Kevin.
So I'm going to point this out. This is something not to do when you're in Russia. Edo Wolf says that he did burn one bridge, and I know which one. Yes, I do. And then he comes up with, but he can still apologize. Let me put it to you this way. He is Russified more than he likes to think he has. And there is never anything wrong with, producer, please don't overwrite things we're talking about. I will also say that you could take the first step, be the bigger man, and you could apologize. So this is what you want to do in Russia. What you will find once you live here long enough is Russians rarely say they're sorry and they rarely apologize. If you find a Russian who makes a mistake and will say, I'm sorry, or accepts responsibility for it, you found one that you should make good friends with, because they're few and far between in this country. So you should take the first step. Teach them something. You look like you had a thought on your mind, Eddie.
I did. And I was about to say, in English, in America, it is so common that we say, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry I did this. Or, hey, I'm running late. I'm sorry. Well, that is appropriate. Here in Russia, you really don't hear a lot of I'm sorry. Am I right, Kevin? I mean, you just typically, it's just not said. Even though they may feel that way, it's just not spoken. So even when I'm communicating with Russians, and if just as common courtesy, if I were speaking to an American, I would say, oh, I'm sorry about that. I should have done this or whatever. What I do is I write my comment and I just omit the I'm sorry part. But guess what? They understand, everything is cool. Another thing, if I were to say I'm sorry and you keep saying I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, you just sound like a whiny American to a Russian. And that's my 2 cents.
Yep, I agree. So let's see. Oh, I did want to mention this. Those of you who see the news report that says sanctions on Russian banks have been lifted, I just want to let you know you need to read the articles, not just the headlines. Do not come to Russia and read just the headlines. Stop it. Stop it. Sanctions have not been lifted against banks. The big laws that they're saying they just passed to lift sanctions on banks, basically, our live chat disappeared on me. The law's been in place since February 28th, 2022. They re-extend it every 6 months, and it's only exemptions on energy industries so that the good old US of A can keep buying oil and gas. So no sanctions have been lifted that will help any of us. Another thing, this is a big one. I don't know. I've already talked about this, Eddie. I've hinted at it a lot. Don't expect the Russian Federation government to help you beyond the help they're already giving you to come here and live here. Got any thoughts on that?
They've opened the door for you. And they've made it easier for you. What more do you want? It's like the rest is up to you. They've helped you quite a bit. And which brings me, I don't know, should we talk about this? But this shared values visa, I don't think it's going to last. Well, first of all, it's not going to last. It has an expiration date. I don't know when that date is, but I have a feeling that things turn around in America, things turn around in the West. This thing might be gone in 6 months, maybe even sooner. Who knows? But I think its days are quickly being numbered. So if you're going to make this move, if you're ready, as it was fond of being said, uh, get off the toilet. Do you drop it in the toilet or get off? Okay, you got to do
Yeah.
it now.
Okay. So I'm kind of curious why our producer banned Edelwolf. So I'm going to ask you to go back out and unban him, please.
There was a comment, but he was, nah, he's all right.
Yeah, he's an all right guy. So you can unban him. Yes, always read the full. Okay. Raiffeisen Bank still operates here, yes, but you can't do transfers to or from it. I've had clients come to me recently and have said this. And people who keep coming here and arguing with me about it, I am going to start banning because you have no clue what the hell you're talking about. And things like that piss me off. Don't do it. Stop it. Stop it. Holy
Damn it, Jim! You keep telling me to stop it.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, let me. Okay. Jay said she put him in a timeout, so that's good. So Edelwolf has been put in a timeout. Yes, I know he was trying to explain something to you, all about which, but still has to be respectful. I didn't see the comments since they all get deleted when somebody's put in a timeout. What else did I want to tell people? Oh, since you are mentioning the special values visa, and this is a big question for people, I have talked to Maria Butina. Braden Consulting has talked to her. Timur has talked to the head of the migration department, and we have received verbal confirmation that if you were issued a visa before September 1st, even if you weren't in country, if your visa was issued before September 1st, you can apply for temporary residence under the new decree, regardless of when you entered Russia. So this is straight from Maria and Timur, who got it from the head of migration. Now, and this is another stop it, do not go to a region that turns you down. I'm aware of somebody who went and applied because she had a work visa issued before September 1st. And she went in the region she was in and they told her she couldn't apply on it. Not a good idea to argue with them. I know one law firm, not Timur's, that will tell you that you should argue with them, report them to higher authorities. And you got a comment on that, Eddie?
Don't argue with the government. Okay, this is not the States. Don't be a Karen. Don't ask for a manager to say spasibo vam and move on. Okay, and if you need to regroup, you can go back. Hopefully, you'll meet with a different person. Maybe you'll get a different answer. I don't know. Just don't argue. Be respectful. Thank you. This is the Russian way.
Odious. I love odious. Yeah, this is the Russian way. And as what I'll say is go back the next day or whenever you can get an appointment, you'll get a different person and they will say, okay. Eddie and I have a couple that have become good friends. Ray and Don, they were having a little bit of an issue with registration in Nizhny. They went there. The landlord didn't want to take the time to go to immigration to register them, didn't want to do it online for whatever reason, said, just, take the contract and apply. So they went to migration services with their contract and they said, we can't take that. Well, they can't. You have to register at the police department. So they were advised to go to the police department the next day. They did. The police department looked at their contract and said, well, we don't like the title on it because it says it's a day-to-day contract and it doesn't list everybody. It only lists the husband on the contract for registration. Please go back and change it and have the landlord sign it again. So then they went back. It actually took them 4 times until everything was the way the police wanted it. But this is a case where they did not argue with the police. They didn't threaten them. They simply did what they were asked to do, and the police registered them. So, this is what you need to do. Just work through the issue. So we may have time for a few questions, unless you have something else you want to talk about, Eddie. I was going to give this process somebody went through for the SVV, but they can set up a consultation with you or I to get that procedure.
There you go. I just want to remind folks that some may be thinking that there might be a live tomorrow night on my channel, and there will not be a live tomorrow night on my channel. Me and Moscow Photographer, Mrs. Moscow Photographer, we're going out on a date. So, couples date. But anyway, so sorry, guys. Sorry, not sorry. But probably next Sunday we'll be here.
So, a few questions. We've got 18 minutes left, and our producer will start pushing on us pretty soon. Dingbat asked, let's say he sends numerous payments over time under the reportable limit. Will they allow that? Talking about money to the bank. Yeah, absolutely. I have people who are doing that. I'll be honest with you. I have an exclusive agreement with Spurbank at this point. If you open a Spurbank account, I can deposit a larger amount in my Spurbank account, transfer it to your Spurbank account, and you won't have an issue getting it there that way either. But have the documentation ready. If you're doing little amounts at a time, Dingbat, it's not an issue. They usually won't question that. So Dingbat, I never saw. Oh, sorry. Producer had a question up. Sorry, Mrs. Producer. Please throw it up again. It would be accepted as corroboration for the money that's been invested over many years and sort of dripped in from salaries and bonuses. Yeah, I think I mentioned this earlier. Make sure you have those pay stubs, where they were deposited into your account, the interest you earned on them from your bank account, and the withdrawal when you took it out to send it here. You have to have original source. And sometimes, yeah, it means it goes back to years where you don't have a documentation, and, they usually won't question it, especially if you sell a property or something and you make 3 or 4 transfers on it. Did I say that out loud? Emil declared money when they left, didn't know what to do, just got searched 3 times in Hungary airport, Bonokobo. They said, well, nice, go change, bye. Not sure what that was referring to, but glad it went well for you. Dingbat, I still don't know what you were asking about how they address structuring. If you answered that, maybe our producer can find that for us. So Edelwolf was saying earlier that you're better off transferring your money earlier and collecting interest on it. I would agree with that. The interest rates here keep going up at the banks. They will go down eventually. When I came here, well, when I opened my account at Alpha Bank 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, at some point they hit 4.7% interest. Still more than I was getting in the United States. Right now they're offering 21% at Spurbank. So it's a good time to move money here. If Rosie flies here with $1,000 or €1,000, will she be safe flying into Moscow, Eddie?
Why not? Absolutely.
People do it all the time.
Absolutely.
Scenario: retired person has enough income to live well, desired to open an art therapy shop where students can come in small groups or kids to paint, pour, and create art. Will your income count? Yeah.
Continued.
I know the continued was, she said, not as a profit organization, but as a nonprofit. It's still working if you're collecting money. So for 3 months, you can help people, not as a business. And you can't actually take money to pay for supplies and things, because then you'd be considered a business. So you can come, you can help people. And yes, retired people, that's, Eddie and I, if we have to, we can survive on our pensions. Let's see. So we were talking about work earlier, so I'm going to put this up. Jay said, Timothy's received 26 rejections for work because of not being able to speak Russian. He is not only an IT genius, he has a work history that I will not talk about, but he is exceptionally qualified to work in IT. There are a couple of companies that will hire IT people without the language skills, but they will expect you to learn them on the job very, very quickly. And when you start getting to the age Eddie and I are, we are old dogs, and it's hard to teach us new tricks. So Eddie, divorce paperwork sufficient? Not
No.
currently married status from crazy Russia?
No, actually, from Crazy Canada, it says,
Yep.
if you're not currently married, you have to research, Google it. There is a form that's called non-impediment to marriage or something similar. Just search for non-impediment to marriage declaration in Canada, and it'll point you to whatever agency handles that. And there'll be a form, you'll fill it in, and whatever requirement, it'll probably require you to be for your signature to be notarized, and you will require an apostille when you bring it to Russia. So even if you're coming as a single person, and you decide that you say you meet a beautiful Russian woman and you pop the question, you want to get married, you've already got this form because you're going to need it, and it's good for 5 years. So bring it with
This
you.
is why Dan Castle and Ksenia couldn't get married here originally. And they went back to Mexico for him to get that document to come back here and get married when they finally got married, because he didn't have that document. Timur does Nizhny and Moscow. He will help people with legal questions on other regions, but the reason Timur is the valued partner of us is because Timur will tell you, I know what the law is. I know how it works in Moscow and Nizhny, but in other regions, you may run into other issues. If you're coming to Crimea, I know he'll refer you to my wife and I because we know how they work here. And all the regions don't always follow the laws, and you have to have the right connections to work through what they're asking for that they may not really need. So Timur will tell you if he won't deal with an area, but he will give you legal advice. He will tell you what the law is. Excellent research. Everybody should hire a lawyer when they come here. If you want to do it all on your own, stop it. Stop it, Batman. Holy stop it, Batman. Jim said.
I'm not even ready for it, but damn it, Jim, quit pushing me to the limit.
Yeah. So George's, I was in Russia on a 90-day tourist visa from June of 2020. Does it mean you can apply for the TRP now? If you're here on the same visa. If your visa expired and you left and you come in on a new visa, no, most likely not. I have somebody who has that situation right now in Crimea, and we're trying to convince them. He just changed his visa. He did not apply before he left. And he just changed his visa after the first. And we're trying to convince them to take it based on the fact that the UK was not issuing the new visas before he got his. He got it before they started issuing the new visas. So sometimes, depending on who you know and who the people you know, you may be able to get past things, which is why in Moscow, Timur is the guy. If anybody can help you with a situation like that, he can. Brian Reinhold, thank you for the donation. Thank you, everybody who's given us donations. We haven't been real good at thanking people. And don't sit in your car if you get pulled over. That may be your experience. My experience is do not get out of the car if you get pulled over. The police do not like you to get out unless they ask you to get out, in my experience. And I get pulled over all the time because they know me, they know my car, and they know I have a U.S. driver's license in a particular state. And whenever one of the guys who's pulled me over before is with a guy who hasn't seen my driver's license, he pulls me over specifically to show it to the other guy. And then I have two guys pulling me over to show it to another guy. So never gotten a ticket, thank God, knock on wood. But I get pulled over just because they know I'm a foreigner and I have something they've never seen before.
Metal Wolf says hands at 10 and 2. He's right. He's right. I'm just putting that up there. Where is it? Yeah, 10 and 2 on the steering wheel. Okay.
Hey, I have been pulled over for not having both hands at 10 and 2. I had them at 9 and 3, and they pulled me over for it and scolded me for not being at 10 and 2.
Wow.
So, and it is.
I'd like to answer. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it is something you can fail the Russian driving test on.
I'm going to answer a quick question here. Ethan is asking, as a Texan, where do you get a apostille document that proves I'm not married? Interesting. You're going to find this. It's an affidavit. It's on the Texas Department of Health website. Texas Department of Health website, because the Department of Health is the depository for birth certificates, death certificates, marriage certificates, all that crap. So go there. It's called Certificate or Declaration of Non-Impediment to Marriage. It's a one-page form. It's an affidavit. So you sign it, take it to a notary, have them notarize it. Then you can either mail it or go in person, go to Austin to the Secretary of State's office. If you go in person, you can walk in. You're going to pay, I think it's $15, and you're going to walk out with an apostille in about 15 minutes. If you mail it, it'll take 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, and other states may be different for getting the declaration, but the process for the apostille is the same. Send it to the Secretary of State. I know Minnesota will not let you walk in with it. You have to mail it to them with a check. The state of Washington, you can actually order it online, and when you order it, you can pay additional. They will send it to the Secretary of State, get it apostilled for you before they send it back to you. Another hint, you can go to a U.S. embassy in a country and ask for this from the ambassador or whoever is working the desk at the time. They will get one of the American guys to come out and talk to you. They will give it to you. You will sign it, and they will stamp it, and it's as good as it's being apostilled. You don't have to have it apostilled then if you're out of country. Oh, this is the one that was up there, and I overwrote it. Yeah, you can contact me on Telegram. Jay, would you throw my Telegram info up? And God, I'm lost. If there's questions out there, I see 52 in the live out there, and I haven't been watching them. I'm going by what's starred in the background.
I just want to put this up here. Thank you, Rosie. You're very welcome. It's our pleasure to bring this information to you.
Yeah, actually, put up my personal one, Jay. Not the West of Freedom one. That's only an information channel. Yeah, that one won't work. Where am I? Who am I? Here I am. I think I'm going to hear that I have too many Telegram channels.
Maybe.
Yeah, this is the best place to reach me, Rosie. So, okay, a couple minutes left. We got the Texas one. Background checks are still valid for 3 months. If you need help getting it done in the right amount of time, set up a time with Eddie or I. We actually have a process. You can do it from Russia if you have to. It's not optimal. It's much better to do it from inside the U.S., but we can give you that information. I think you've got that. Don't you have that information, Eddie?
I do. Also to Ethan, if you contact me on Telegram, send me a message, and I'll send you the links so that you can download the form that you need for Texas.
No, background check. Has to be FBI.
I'm sorry. FBI only for background check. Correct.
In the United States.
In the United States.
Other countries is whatever your national authority is. Can you get your background check apostilled at an embassy abroad, or does it have to come from the State Department? It has to come from the State Department. Despite what anybody else will tell you, immigration will not accept it if it does not have the State Department apostille. I had Sveta Rose contact me the other day. A woman got her FBI background check, and she paid the FBI an additional fee to not apostille it. Oh, gee, my mind went blank. To
certify
basically,
it?
Huh?
To certify it? Or
yeah, to authenticate it.
Ah.
And an authentication is only used with countries that are not part of the 1961 Hague Convention, and Russia is. So she wasted her money. She didn't follow directions, and she got confused because it said if you get it, send it to the State Department to get it apostilled, the authentication is no longer valid, which is a true statement. Yes, you can enter Russia without a background check. Yeah, Jay, I'm going to go over a couple of minutes here, clear these questions out. You can enter Russia without a background check, but you won't get residency.
Thank you, Yura, for backing me up, man.
Absolutely. So we have any other questions floating out there, since we have 60 some odd that I haven't looked at? I'm going to assume
Damn it,
somebody...
Jim, we're at an hour.
Yep. Do not whistle in the buildings. No, do not do it. My wife will come after you personally. Does West of Freedom assist moving to all regions? That's you, Eddie.
What's that? To all?
Does West of Freedom? Oh no, that's me. West of Freedom.
You.
That's me. No,
Crimea.
Like, we only help with Crimea. Oka is Nizhny only. So, yeah. Contact us. Let us know where you're looking at going, and we'll see if we can find you somebody there. We know people in many parts of Russia, particularly Siberia. You want to go to Siberia. We know people all over up there. Too cold for me.
Irkutsk. Yep.
Irkutsk. Where's Alex at?
He's in Novosibirsk.
Yeah.
Novosibirsk. Can I renew a 3-year tourist visa, or do I have to apply for residency before 3-year visa expires? It depends. If you want to live in Russia, you're going to want residency. So you would apply for residency. If you just want to come and visit Russia and stay for 6 months at a time, leave, and then come back, you can do that as many times as you need within 3 years. Once your visa expires, you'd have to apply for a new one.
And I will expound on that a little bit. If you have a current 3-year visa and it's not expired, the time to come is now if you want to apply under the new decree. Because if you apply for a new 3-year visa, it won't be any good. You can still apply for residency, but you'll be taking the language tests. So if your goal is to apply for residency and you must renew your visa right now, ask for the 90-day shared value visa. But if you have it and it's good, come on it and you can apply. Elegant gratitude. Is there a way to ship mail your belongings from the U.S. to Russia? Most shipping options are on hold. If you really, 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 really insist on shipping yourself from the United States to Russia, set up a consultation with me. I will give you the information on who will do it for you. There's 3 or 4 companies. I have one that I recommend from my friends at Put de Moy that they have had very, very good luck with. But I will say, sell all your crap. Take the money, come here, buy all new stuff, because you will get all brand new stuff and probably have money left over. Would you agree, Eddie?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Growing Up Rosie says, Oka responded to me, but not that excited since I didn't have 8 children. No, Rosie, I think they just weren't excited because they're Russian.
Let me interpret some faces for you. This is a Russian. This is a Russian
This
smiling.
is a Russian smile.
This is an excited Russian. This is Vladimir Putin laughing.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't take that as customer service is different here. So you're not going to get the, oh, welcome. Come to Russia. We've been waiting for you. Yes, we'll help you. Yes. you won't get that.
Yeah, correct. You will get factual information from them, Rosie, and that's about it. But if you want to come to Crimea, we'll even smile at you. Okay.
Hey, Raymond, I'll walk you through that process when time comes, or just send me a message and I'll walk you through it, man. No problem. I got something that'll help you with that too.
Yeah, this guy will help you too. Let's see.
Yeah, we'll both.
I'm on the wrong side of the screen. That guy over there.
Would love to
Eddie
do a
and I
video
can
with
help
Raymond
you.
when he's ready.
Yes, when you're ready, let us know. Okay. Georgia said I did something that was funny. I'm not sure what. I get people who complain about my sense of humor all the time, saying I'm distracting from valuable information. And as Jay said, like, share, comment, subscribe. Kevin and Eddie.
Yes. Oh, wait a minute. If
We
we're
did
going to push something,
we did a live stream the other day, and today my name is Kevin.
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 Oh, Kevin. Yeah. Hey guys, I just want to throw this up. That's Kevin's YouTube. My YouTube will probably pop up, but here, guys, if you guys are on X, I'm trying to grow my X followers, and because I really do believe X is probably going to be the future. So if you guys are on X, you can find me there at comrade_EG. Comrade_EG.
I'm on X too, and you'd never guess what my X name is. You won't find a banner for it, Jay. It is American Crimea.
I've had comrade_EG since 2010. So it predates.
I have Kane McAlizzy too, but the one I use the most is my American Crimea one.
Yeah.
So we are 7.5 minutes over, but you know what? I have to comment on two things because this has been bugging me for weeks. Sorry, Jay. The first thing, Eddie, what are
Yes.
Since we aren't doing a stream tomorrow, and I was saving this for tomorrow, what are your thoughts about Trump and Elon Musk supposedly, and I'm going to say supposedly or allegedly, calling Zelensky to tell him the way it was going to be for ending the special military operation? Why the hell would Elon Musk be involved in this?
Well, first of all,
I have some ideas, but
did it happen? That's the first question I have, because there's a lot of information coming out on X, if you and probably YouTube, and you'll see Trump says this, Trump declared this, Trump stated this. If it's not officially released from the Trump campaign, and it comes from Politico, it comes from the Wall Street Journal, from the New York Times, from the Washington Post, any mainstream media, take it with a grain of salt. Now, I have shared some of that. So let's break it down. First of all, we'll assume it's factual. But
assume, yes.
Let's assume it's factual. Why would Elon Musk be on the phone call you're asking, right? Well, one of the things I say is, first of all, Elon Musk and his company have supported, through Starlink, have supported Ukraine. Second of all,
not
he's going to be
necessarily because they wanted to, but they were forced
no,
to.
because they were being forced, and of course, Elon was being paid for it. It was a government contract. Yeah.
But wait,
so
I have to give you the Russian surprise.
Yeah. So the second part of that is he's going to be part of the new Trump campaign or Trump administration, and he's going to be in charge of what?
Ukraine.
What is it called? No. Well, not that. Government accountability. And one of the things he's going to want to do is audit all the money that's going to Ukraine. So I think he's got a vested interest in having a phone call. And if he was just on the phone call, I think maybe it was just to make the other side a little nervous, just to give them a taste of what may come if this is in fact a factual phone call.
Yeah,
What say
if it
you?
was factual, I'm thinking along the same lines of two big time businessmen who are good negotiators and, like you say, maybe setting things up if it's factual. I
Yes,
have serious doubts, but
I have my doubts.
and yeah. And the
And I will just
second
say
one,
this. Go
oh,
ahead. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. Nope, you
No,
go
I
ahead.
was just going to expound. I was just about to say that be careful with what you see coming out in the media right now, because you'll see a lot of information about, especially, let's talk about the Mike Pompeo thing. So Mike Pompeo's name is being thrown out left and right as being maybe in the running for the Secretary of Defense. I believe that's the latest thing I've heard. And of course, if
To
you
get my Russian
judge
face.
by So if you judge by popular opinion, Pompeo is not popular with MAGA at all. So you have to wonder where that's coming from. So take everything that's coming out right now as a grain of grain with a grain of salt. Go ahead.
I'm going to play off of that just for a moment here. I usually do not comment on the special military operation at all. I have people on both sides of the border. I live what, the NAFO people, you can take what I'm going to say as it is, because reality is regardless of what you say Crimea is, I live under the rule of the Russian Federation. So I'm not going to argue with them about anything. But it's time for this to end, because I watch the Military Summary channel twice a day, because he posts at about 11 o'clock Moscow time in the morning and about 11 midnight at night, and I'm up working anyway. And he's fairly balanced. So if you want good information, Military Summary channel is fairly balanced. He does not color anything for either side unless he can verify it. And he takes information from both sides and neutral people. However, because I've been watching this over and over and over, I think Westerners get the idea that there's this war going on. And because most of us were not alive when World War II was going on, we think, well, Russia goes in, they take over a city, and, the people that are happy that they're there go on living their lives and they clap and they, gee, you need to watch what goes on with both sides when they go through a village. They are flattened. The buildings are destroyed. People's homes are destroyed. People are left homeless. There are not many civilians left in the areas. You hear a lot of news reports on particularly the western part about the poor civilians being killed by the Russians. The civilians have been evacuated one direction or the other, and the cities are flattened. So Russia's taking over kilometers of territory at this point. Up in the Kursk region, they've actually lost a little territory in the few nights. So even those Russians' homes have been flattened totally. So this is not a good thing. It's time for somebody to actually get in there and negotiate it. So I could only hope that it's Trump and Elon Musk. I think the supposed plan that was laid out is something that Russia could agree to, but I think it would be adjusted. And of course, they would have to convince the UK and Germany to send their troops in to, run the 800-mile long demilitarized zone, but no U.S. troops. This is one of the reasons why you can't believe everything you hear. And you can't believe that it's actually going to happen.
Right. Military summary is in English. Yeah,
Yes.
I don't believe anything coming out of mainstream media. And you have to ask yourself, why is mainstream media pushing Pompeo, 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 Pompeo? Because they want him in. That's why.
Yes.
Doesn't take somebody too much smarter than Dr. McCoy to figure that one out.
Yep. And I don't think Trump is that stupid.
This is Trump 2.0. And there are a lot of comments. I see a lot of folks, especially on X, saying, well, they're judging Trump based on past performance as 45, thinking that he's going to do the same as 47. And I don't see that. This is a different Trump, different administration, different group of people surrounding him. So I expect something different. Whether it's will be effective or not, that's another story.
Yeah. So Rosie, your comment there, Eddie and I will do a different stream on that. The Trump being elected and the Dems gone insane, not appropriate for tonight. And
Actually, we had one planned for tomorrow on that topic, but yeah, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, mama comes first. So we are 17 minutes over, so we are going to end it here. Ping me or Eddie in Telegram. You've seen it up on the screen plenty of times. I have our websites in the descriptions of the video on both our channels, and you can find our contact information there as well. So with that, I will say, well, since we're at night here, spokane noci, do svidania, sladke snov,
Baka.
Dobry din for those of you in the West. Eddie, thank you. And
thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll let you guys know when Eddie and I actually get together for another stream here in the next week.
We will.
I got to show you how to set this up where you end it and this plays the video automatically.
Начинается Родина.